Pig Hotel is a semi-self-sustainable hotel or restaurant with rooms based here in Brockenhurst in the New Forest. And our philosophy is based simply on a 25-mile menu where we source 80% of everything that's on our menu from within a 25-mile radius. We also have this amazing wood oven. When we were looking at this area, the courtyard here, we wanted something that was very visual and very impacting, but also something that we could use and create something that we cook very quickly. I think it's very important when you're cooking outside and when you have people looking at the chef cooking that they can see that the guy's always busy and that they're producing something that's coming straight out the oven onto here. I think if you're going to have a wood oven in the middle of the New Forest, you need that lovely flavour of the smoke coming through, and we actually use a sustainable source of wood. So we just use oak from the New Forest, and these are from trees that have been marked to be taken down. So all of the pigs have wood ovens, they're all Gozney ovens. A couple of them do have the extra gas pipe in the back, just because, especially at the beach, we will do up to 350 flatbreads a day in the summer. This is one of the first commercial ovens that was put in by Gozney. Versatile, and also we know that it's going to be there for years to come, so that's why we love the Gozney ovens at the Pig. I love to cook game and wild mushrooms in the wood oven. If you've had a bird that's lived its life in the woodland, it's had an incredible life eating all the amazing food that you find on a forest floor, there's nothing better than giving it a bit more respect when you cook it. And cooking in wood is one of the most natural ways of cooking, and the taste that you're going to get and the flavour that you're going to get from that piece of meat is going to be completely different to something that's, say, been cooked in a gas stove or an electric oven. It's one of the things that when I go out to eat, I look for the game. I look for the meat that you can't buy in the supermarket and you can't just pick up from your local convenience store. So I cooked some pheasant breasts in the Roccbox, and what I did was I took them off the carcass and I roasted them in the Roccbox, but then I glazed it with some fig and juniper vinegar. We get this amazing vinegar from Wild Island company over on the Isle of Wight, and when you glaze it with a little bit of sugar, it just gives it that beautiful kind of colour and sweetness that you need to go with game. So yeah, I love cooking game in the Roccbox. It's great. Hi, I'm James Golding from the Pig Hotels, and today I'm going to be cooking Beaulieu Estate pheasant with some Crown Prince squash, some beautiful homegrown oyster mushrooms, chestnuts and some Wild Island vinegar. Okay, so our first job is to cook our pheasant breast. It's very important to keep that skin on. You need that basic fat barrier between the meat and the skin, which you don't get obviously if it's been stripped off. So we're just going to lightly season the pheasant breast with some salt and pepper. You don't want to go too heavy on the salt. You're going to preheat the pan. If you don't have enough heat in the pan, then the breast is basically going to boil when you cook it. I'm going to put a little bit of veg oil in the pan. I'll put that breast in the pan. Just give it a little shake just to make sure it's not sticking. Back in the Roccbox. So I've got this on a medium to high heat. I mean, obviously with the Roccbox you've got a good amount of heat on the base here, so you're actually hitting the meat from both sides. So it's a good way to get a good amount of caramelisation on the meat. It's starting to look really, really good. At this stage, I'm going to put in a few little sprigs of thyme here. I'm going to crush a garlic clove as well. Obviously it's very important with pheasant that we don't cook it well done. The bird has to be medium. Some people may like it medium well, but personally I think medium's great. We've got some fantastic Longman salted butter, British and full of flavour. I mean, look at the colour of it, it's so yellow. At this point now we're going to nappe the pheasant with the butter. We're going to let that rest now. So next up we're going to cook our oyster mushrooms. They have such an incredible flavour that works really, really well with game. They have a sweetly sort of umami kind of flavour. What we're going to do is take a few of these guys out. You don't want to chop these. You don't want to get a knife and start hacking into them. You just want to delicately pull them apart. And they sort of have a natural vein that runs through the mushrooms. Take a nice heavy bottom pan, and we're going to warm it up. A little bit of veg oil in there as well. You just want to see a little bit of smoke coming off of the oil, and that's the sound you want. They cook quite quickly in there. They've got heat from both sides, so you will get quite a quick caramelisation on these mushrooms. You want to sort of keep it centralised so you get those flames coming up the top as well. Again, a little knob of butter. And what the butter does is it adds in a bit of moisture to the mushrooms and helps also to give them a lovely shine. We're also going to add in some of our persil. This is a cross between flat leaf parsley and celery. It's very important to season at the end. If you season them too early, what happens is that it draws all the moisture out of the mushroom and they tend to boil. Next up, we've got our Crown Prince squash. Now, these guys have grown in our garden throughout the summer months. They've spent the past month in our greenhouse, curing or ripening, as we call them. What we've done with this squash is we've just cut it open, taken out all the seeds, and we've lightly roasted it. But what I want now is to get that caramelisation in the Roccbox. And then at the end, I'm going to add in these chestnuts. Same again, very important with chestnuts to leave them to cure. And we've roasted these chestnuts in the Roccbox. So we've got a nice skillet here. We're going to put that into the Roccbox. While the skillet's heating up, we're going to add in some oil. We can actually put this in. So while it's heating up, we're going to season it with some salt. I'm not going to chop them up really fine. I want the chestnuts to be able to, you know, show off their shape. So we're literally cutting them just in half, golden brown. Going to put the chestnuts in. We're going to put some of this thyme in the pan as well, and a crushed garlic clove. Now, we're going to use the residual heat from the pan for the rest of this now. We're not going to put it back in the Roccbox. Oh, that's lovely. Okay, we're going to add in some butter. That's all warming through now. The pheasant is warming through. You don't want to cook it too much in the Roccbox. You just want to get a bit more heat into it before you plate it up. I'm going to place it on the board. I quite like to carve my pheasant on the angle. That's still lovely and moist. You can see how tender that is inside. So we're going to plate up the dish now. We're going to place our squash, we're going to place our mushrooms, and then we place our pheasant, chestnuts, and there you go over the top. I'm going to keep some of the butter that's in this pan, and then we finish with our sauce. So for the pheasant, I've brought some red wine sauce with me. And you don't want to douse this. This is literally just a little bit of acidity that we're adding to the dish to cut through all these earthy, gamey flavours. So good amount on the meat. And we're just going to take some of this butter. Now that butter is just packed full of flavour. With me today, I brought some red Mizuna, and this is a fantastic leaf. It looks almost like a sort of dragon's tongue or something, and it's got these incredible red and green veins running through the leaf. This is my roasted pheasant with Crown Prince squash, homegrown oyster mushrooms, chestnuts and red wine sauce. Yes. Okay, so it's how to set fire to the pan.